Well, welcome everybody. If I haven't said hello to you yet, I am Hilke, and this is the first class of the Yang Family long form. There are 103 movements in that form, one of which movement has at least 5 movements inside it. So there's a lot of them. Most people it takes a year to 15 months to learn, but the cool thing is section 1, you can learn in 3 or 4 months. And it basically has the roots of everything in it. So you're all set. You learn about your Tai Chi body. You're able to do some of the basic energies. You're training your body in just about everything. And after that, you're just adding more and more wonderful things to it and getting stronger and stronger. Tai Chi is a curriculum in a way. It helps change your body and your mind and strengthen both. So we'll enjoy that. I am hoping, I see a lot of people have muted themselves. This is fine, but I'm hoping that we can have some conversation today. But let's start by my just asking, who here has done any Tai Chi at all before? Okay, we have some complete beginners and we have some, there's about half and half. Who has done the first section the whole way through before? Yeah, I see, aha, I see three of us for sure. One of us almost, right? So that's good. Good for me to know. How many are here because they think that it'll help them get stronger? Or, oh, I'm seeing a lot of people are saying that, yeah. And maybe get back into martial arts. Is there anybody like that who's done that? Yep. So now if you've seen, there's more than one person here who's like that. And that was one of the reasons that I took up Tai Chi too. I had a background in martial arts. So it's nice to know who's here. Please feel free to let me know what works for you. This is the first class, so I need to say some things. One of them is, I already said, the recording will never show you. The recordings will also be available, and I will send them out, send you a direct link to them. They will also be available online through our school. So I will give you both ways to get to those videos. So once you find that, you may be interested in other folks' videos as well. Safety is really, really important. So I'm asking you right now, look around your space, because today, shortly, we will be moving in our space. So make sure that, you may just have a little space in front of you, or you may have a big space. But if you decide to move around, then you want to make sure that you have, it's safe for you, that there's not things on the floor that you might trip over, for example. I'm going to apologize in advance for the fact that I have 2 cats, one of which is very young. This will be an effort potentially to not be distracted by my cat if she starts climbing the blinds or climbing the curtains or some other interesting things. Anyway, her name is Ginger. The more sedate one is Gaia. So you may see them, and yes, we love the kitties. So they're just there, right? Getting a lot of that from the group. So we also have a 70% rule. This is very, very important. It turns out that, and feel free to warm up if you want to warm up while I'm talking, because we won't normally do this, and we will warm up together shortly. But I did want to tell you that we have a 70% rule. That is to say, whatever you think you can do, sort of your maximum effort, whatever you can do, I never want you to go more than 70%. Ever. If you abide by that rule, your 70% will gradually get bigger and bigger and bigger. 70% of your maximum at most is plenty to build your strength and build your ability. So please don't feel if other people are standing there doing something like this at some point when you're doing Tai Chi, and what you can do is kind of stand there and raise your heel or something, that is enough. right? You just do what you can do, 70% of what you can do. Also know if you're having a bad day and you just are having a bad day, feel free to sit down. There's a lot that can be done. I was post-surgery and I did a lot of Tai Chi just sitting in a chair. And believe it or not, you can get a lot of benefits from that. So keep that in mind. Everybody kind of clear on those ground rules? Wonderful. Another one of the ground rules is I like to get feedback. If you don't like to talk, you can do this, and you can do this, and you can do, you know, whatever. Exactly. Do whatever works for you, but please give feedback. If you're willing to talk, if you're willing to answer questions, this is absolutely, ask questions. This is absolutely the best, and have ideas, and especially today with what we'll be doing. So I invite you to do that. Is this all clear? Oh, and you can interrupt me. Believe it or not, you can interrupt me. You can say, hey, Dee Dee, wait a minute, what was that? That is fine. This is your class. Right now, we've got, I think including me, 11 of us in this room. That is not too many to have somebody break in now and again. Chances are, if it wasn't clear to one of you, it wasn't clear to all of you or many of you. So please do that. So we good with that? I got some thumbs. Okay, good. That'll do. At some point, we'll get some more conversation going. Okay, I'm just going to look. All right, I want to tell you a little bit about what we're going to be doing in the course. As I said, we're going to be doing the first section of the Young Family Long Form, and we're going to enjoy it. We're going to build kind of a Tai Chi toolkit. And that toolkit turns out to align our bodies. It turns out to build our strength. It turns out to calm our minds. It turns out to actually challenge our brains and our bodies. So all of this is good for you, even if Tai Chi is sort of the afterthought for those ends. If Tai Chi is what you want, that works too. And it should resonate with other martial arts you have done. So if it doesn't, ask a question about that. Chances are we can figure it out together. So let's get ourselves warmed up a little bit. We're going to start very, here we go. Have some notes over here. So let's just start with our joints today. Now, we are not going to warm up like this every time. Pretty soon we'll be warming up with the form itself, but I'm going to give you some tips today for it. So if you want to just stand comfortably, shoulder width apart, and I'd like you to feel as if your head was very light. Oh, Willa, I can actually see your head get light. That is wonderful. Yeah, have that head feel very light, and your neck is very long because your shoulders are very relaxed. So just feel as if you're sort of suspended. Let the bottom of you be very heavy, sort of those feet into the floor, or if you're sitting down, let your bottom just feel really well seated in that chair. And your back gets this little extra, because you're kind of, it's like you're hanging on a coat hanger, right? Your head is so light that, and your neck is long, it doesn't hurt, it's that 70%, right? But your arms just hang, nice, looks really good. And I want you to look out through your eyes and just take in, if you can, what's around you. Take in what's around you. And then I want you to, while you're here, I want you to do a sort of chicken head thing. See that? Go in and out. Now, again, this is your 70% rule. If it's too crunchy or it doesn't feel good, don't do it. And then on the next one, you're going to go in, and then you're just going to relax, but not necessarily go out. You're not holding it in, you're just staying in. And then on that line, because you've now aligned your head, just gently turn your head. And again, that 70% rule, little bit of stretch at the end. You might go 1/8 of an inch, or you might go quite a distance. Just see what that feels like. If you're somebody that does other things with your neck, going down or up or anything, and you don't have, bad crunchies in there, then feel free. Do what feels good. And we're gonna like shrug our shoulders up and down. Yeah, up and down. And then how about down and back, up, over and down, and back, and up over your head and down. Think about a hoodie. One more. Again, it hurts. Don't go there. We're going to go the other way now. Coming up, back, and down. Up, back, and down. Nice. All right. It doesn't feel good? Don't do it. Okay. And then, what feels good? What feels good at that point? Yeah, what feels good at that point? How about that? This is, Crystal's doing this, and this was the next thing I wanted to do. Now, here's the tricky thing. A couple of you are doing it already. Kind of shows me you've had martial arts training. Look at 2 ways that I could do this. The way I'm doing it right now, I'm going to just stick my thing so you can see my bottom. Do you see how, maybe you can't see it. Do you see how my hips aren't moving? See that? My hips aren't moving. Some of you will have a tendency to do it this way. But when you do, you might hurt your knees. So we're going to always try to keep those, they might lose. See how if I really get going, the very top of my hip moves, but look at my knee, doesn't move at all. Okay, so this is something you want to get used to. One way to make this easy is to not stand too tight here, but give yourself a little bend in those knees as you do that. This is just something we'll do with our body. All right, and then if you want to hula hoop a little bit, for those of you who are standing, feel free. Should feel good. If it doesn't feel good, don't do it. And then your knees. One of the things I do sometimes before I come to class is I just walk a little bit, and it helps to get everything going and sort of my heart rate up a little bit. And then as you're able.
Hey, Didi.
Yes?
So for the warm up, can you do the Tai Chi Qigong 18 form? So I think it's a better way to start, warm up.
Yes, I think that is a good way to start. We're not going to do that today, but
okay.
That is a good way to start. Yes, it is. So if that's your practice, more power to you. Yes, that's good. Mm-hmm. It's a good way. This allows us to check out all our joints and just see today if any of them are talking to us, because sometimes they do. So I'm going to suggest that you stand on one foot if you can do that. and you allow the other foot to come up. And if you can, have it, see if you can just play with the joint on the other foot. And then see how that feels. Now, for some of you, that would be a complete challenge. And if that's a challenge, the way you want to do it is just get up and maybe shift from one foot to another foot. Shift from one foot to another foot. For those of you that want to move on, we're going to put one foot out to the side and touch with our toe, touch with our heel, touch with our toe, touch with our heel. And then shift to the other side. We're going to turn this thigh out, put our foot out to the corner, shift our weight over, and see if we can stand on that. And touch with the toe and the heel. See how that feels. Nice. Shift. Go out and big toe, little toe. You're rotating in this joint. So what we're really doing is kind of checking out our joints and to some extent our balance, right? How are we feeling? Okay, all right. Right, we will not do that every time, but it's a good thing for you to be checking in and for me to be checking in periodically with what works, what's easy, what's not so easy. So what I'd like to do now is just experience prepare, which is the very first movement, or actually the starting position for the first section of the form. So I want you to stand shoulder width apart. And I want you to get that light head again, very light head. And I want you to feel very heavy in your lower body. And a long, very long in your neck, shoulders relaxed. Weight distributed on both of your feet. Let the bottom of you feel heavy and the top of you feel light. Nancy Lucero, one of my teachers, says, and now imagine little tiny magnets that have some weight on them at the end of your middle fingers. They cut, yeah, oh man, I see that in your bodies. That's nice. Lovely. Lovely. Now, when we're doing this, there's several ways that our spine might be. And what you really want to do is have from the very top of your head, kind of imagine that your spine was straight. Now, it's not straight for really anybody, but I want you to play with that for a moment. So the first thing I want you to do is make sure your knees are soft, not really bent a lot, but bent a little. And then I want you to play for a minute with your lower back. Do you see how mine is here? Do you see how, let's get a little closer. Do you see how it's moving? It's moving. So in a lot of exercise programs, they tell women especially, pull up here, pull it in here, and be tight back here. We want to be relaxed. We don't want to be like this with it sticking out. What we want is our spine to be straight. Do you see? Want our spine to be straight. One way to get that straight spine is to imagine that you're about to sit down. So if you would just sit down for me, just even a little ways, like imagine the chair's like right here. Just where's that chair? Yeah, where's that chair? And then come up. This is actually a good exercise for you. Imagine that that chair was right there. And then when you come up, see if you can not tighten that spine, just come up. So imagine, keep that I'm about to sit down feeling the whole time. And you will align your spine. All right? So what is prepare? Our feet are grounded, really enjoying the ground. Our knees are soft. Most importantly, it's like we had a fishbowl on top of the head, or our head just got really light. The neck is very long and our arms are hanging, just hanging. And from here, we go into opening. How does that work? Oh, we're going to rotate our arms. Everybody see this? The whole arm. It's not just the hands. It's the whole arm. But we're going to start that rotation as we start to come up. And our arms are just going to float up to shoulder height. And then our elbows are going to bend. And I want you to imagine a big beach ball. You are pushing into the water. Push it in, push it in. There'll come a moment when you can't push anymore. If you go too far, it's like the ball's going to come out, right? You know when that moment is, right? Right. So let's do that again. I'll turn this way so you can see it. Opening. Get into prepare. Our arms rotate. They float up. Upper arms first. Forearms. You're pushing that ball in. And as you do, the rest of your body is absolutely quiet. When you're at the bottom, we're going to relax our hands and go back to where we were. And again, opening, coming up, little wave at the top, pushing that big beach ball into the water. Feel a little of that resistance. Feel that moment when it wouldn't be a push anymore. And inhale. Exhale. Again. Inhale. Exhale. And now we're going to make this into an exercise. So we're going to come up. And as we push down, soften our knees. If you want to bend down far, you can. Or you can just soften them a little bit. I'm going to go up and down. I'm bringing them up to shoulder height, but my camera makes it look like it's further. Breathing in and out. Breathing in and out. Breathing in, coming up, And now stay up and just come down. And back to prepare. How do you know you're in prepare? Very light head, very long neck. Feet in contact with the ground. Balanced, not more on one foot than the other. Shoulders relaxed. How's that feel for folks? Okay, all right. So those are the first, actually the beginning and the end of the form include prepare and include opening or some part of opening. So you've kind of done the shortest version of the long form that we could ever possibly do. So that's it. What I want to do now is I want to go into a little more, as Nancy said in her, I don't know if everybody has seen that, but our school advertises this and says at the beginning, you're going to learn some of the things you need for balance and for body shape and for footwork. So we're going to do a little bit more of that today as well. So what I want to do, though, characteristic of the way I teach Tai Chi is that I want it to be something that comes naturally to you. And this is why I talk about things like having a light head, because for some of you, it actually does something to your body when you imagine that. And that's why we talk about pushing the ball in, because when you're imagining pushing a ball in, it tells something about your body. And there'll be times when, you know, in learning the Tai Chi form, we may talk about what is the application? How would you do it in a martial art? What are we actually doing? And sometimes that helps you to understand what it is that that your body is doing. So all of that is there. So what I'd like to do today is I'm trying to decide. So a few of you, I'm trying to decide between Sticky Planet and and Furry Friends. So if anyone has a favorite, tell me which one we should do. Maybe we'll do both.
Furry Friends one.
Furry Friends. Okay. All right. So Furry Friends. Furry Friends is lots of fun. And they both get you the same place. So what I want you to do is imagine that your environment that is safe. Remember, we looked at our environment before, made sure it was safe. I want you to imagine, it's a big imagine now. I want you to imagine that for about this deep on the floor, there's fog that has rolled in. You cannot see your feet. You are only going to be able to feel your feet. So this is a big deal, right? So I don't want you looking down at your feet, right? There's fog there, you won't see anything anyway. The other thing that's going to happen is in a second, I am going to sort of open the door, and it turns out that if you have a pet in the house, a lot of little furry friends that you like have all come to visit. Depending on who you are, these could be mice or gerbils or kittens or puppies, but they're little and they don't know what they shouldn't do. And it's not like there's 4 of them or 8 of them. It's like there are 40 of them. And it's like the puppy party or the kitten party, okay? So whatever are your furry friends, I want you to imagine that they have just come into your space. Now, Muriel, you can't look down there, they're not there. I mean, they are there, but I want you to imagine. But now you have to move. And you don't want to kick them and you don't want to shove them. So you're going to have to find a way as you move in this space to shift your weight. So yep, I'm seeing people start to move. Shift your weight and don't step on any of these little furry friends. If you do, encourage them gently to slip out from underfoot. And then continue to move. Yeah. Like, oh, there's one right under your foot right now. So gently encourage it to, and then shift your weight once it's okay. And see if you can go some places, really experience this. Remember, a light head will help you. Remember, don't look down, stay aligned. And just see what that's like. Can you walk fast? Or does this slow you down? Think about that. Is this doing something? Do you end up having moments where you're really not sure? Like, oh, wait, how do I move that foot? Uh-oh, I'm getting stuck. Or does this feel natural to you? For those of you who are finding going straight, I see some smiles here. Going forward easy, you can go backwards. Think about that. Oh, that's a little harder, isn't it? How is going backwards different from going forwards? Do you put a different part of your foot down when you do it? What does your body tell you now that you're in this situation? How are you going to move? I see it slowing everybody down. On your next step, oh my goodness, on your next step, you stepped on someone's tail. So say you're sorry. Take another step, realizing it's a whole party in that area. Find a good spot and then transfer your weight. Nice. I'm seeing some very erect people. I'm seeing your whole bodies reacting to this challenge. You're very aligned. Some of you have your arms out. You seem relaxed. Some confidence is building. Looking good. All right, now we're going to whoosh away all of the all the fog. You can say goodbye to the friends. They're gone. With that, they're gone. They're gone. If you can unmute and let me know what that felt like for you.
Very deliberate.
Deliberate, okay.
Sometimes I lose balance unexpectedly, even though I'm going slow.
Well, going slow is a challenge, right? You're not so used to it, and it requires more strength. Yeah, I see some of you nodding. Yeah. Did you take stock of, did you notice when, I don't know, whether your whole foot went down, whether your heel went down first, whether your toes went down first? Did that change when you went forward or backwards? Did anyone have any? I see, Marcy, I see you nodding. What did you notice?
Was walking forwards, my toes would hit first, but going backwards, I was leading with my heel. But sometimes going forwards, I would hit with my heel as well, but backwards.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. That's unusual, but there usually is a difference for everybody. So that's interesting to me. I'm fascinated. So a lot of people, when they go, because when we naturally walk, when we naturally walk, we go heel, ball, toe, right? Heel, ball, toe forward, right? So a lot of people, when they do this exercise, they hit with their heel first, and then they roll onto that foot, and then shift their weight and release the toe, and hit with the heel again, heel, ball, toe, and release the back foot. So I want to try, and when they go backwards, it's the reverse for a lot of people. So for a lot of people, if you're going backwards, you reach back with your toe, and then go toe, ball, heel, and then come back the other way. But not everybody is the same. So there you go with that. I'd like to try another version of this, which we call Sticky Planet. I introduce it at least. So you're on a planet. You're on a planet now, no furry friends, but you have definitely like the spacesuit on. The spacesuit helps your head stay up and you can look across at the planet. And you have that very long neck because there's all of this light air in your helmet. It's actually like kind of having your head in a balloon, and it feels very light. And there's a lot of gravity on this planet. So the balloon is kind of pulling you up here, making you feel very light in your upper body, nice extended spine. And meanwhile, your feet are like stuck. Now you've got some special boots on. Those boots, if you intend to lift a part of your foot, you're able to kind of peel that foot off. And once it's off, you're fairly light until you hit again with your foot, and then it sticks. It just sticks. And as you move, you're sticking to the ground. And you have to consciously pull a piece of a foot up in order to move, balance on that other leg, and then put that foot down somewhere, and then it sticks. And there you are. So try that one. It's a little bit different. In Tai Chi, our contact with the floor of our whole bottom foot is very important. And paying attention to when we release our heels or our toes is also important. Again, you can move in any direction, but consciously peel it off. Peel that foot off, lift it up, and put it down, which feels more natural. Heel, ball, toe, toe, ball, heel. You folks are very smooth. It's really lovely to watch you. Exciting. All right, any comments? Sticky Planet has been, you've been liberated from the Sticky Planet. Any comments?
I like Planet better than the furry friend. Created more of it.
It's different, isn't it? It's different. So I invite you to think about different things this week. We aren't done yet, but I invite you to think about different experiences. You've had an experience on ice before, most of you, or snow. You walk differently when you realize it's icy, don't you? You could do this in your house. You can do the Sticky Planet in your house. you can do any of these. They will challenge you and they will reveal to you things about your body and how you move, and they'll help you build your balance. So I recommend them to you. I mean, you can be boiling water for something you're doing or cooking in the kitchen. There's plenty of room in the kitchen and things to grab onto, right? if you have something going on. So I recommend that to you. It's a good thing to do. See what you can come up with. One of my favorite ones, for those of you who have done forms before, or have done the young family forms before, is imagining those poles you sometimes see in movies where they're training people in the martial arts. You know, there's these big like telephone poles, but people are actually doing it on top of the telephone poles. You know, if you've ever seen that, and if they don't keep their balance exactly right, moving their balance from one side to the other and making sure they're always pushing down with everything that they do. If they don't, those poles start going side to side and smashing into each other. So it's interesting, whatever you think about. It's so you can build your strength and your understanding of your body and why martial arts are the way they are and why Tai Chi is the way they are just by doing these activities. So I recommend them to you. And some people find it useful to think about transferring their weight from foot to foot, from side to side, kind of like a slinky. So my hands are the floor. And you're gonna fill up one foot and then fill the other foot. So it's another thing to think about.
So Didi,
Yes.
so what's the ball exactly look at your feet? Where's the ball?
Where's
Here
the
and also-
ball on your foot?
Yes.
On your
The
foot,
middle?
it's this area of your foot.
Okay.
If you know the bubbling well, it's, you know, like the bubbling well is right here. If you've had,
Oh, okay.
it's right. It's sort of the pad right in front of that.
Oh,
So in English, we talk about the heel of the foot and we talk about the ball of the foot, and the ball is that area before you get to the toes.
okay, got it.
Yeah, so sorry. Thank you. Good question. Yeah. All right, so let me just check and see where we are. All right. So we have a little time left. I would like to, so Ken has written something to us all. He says the pole exercise, oh, just lost it. Wait a minute, let me get my chat up. The pole exercise is one that I learned. It also helps you learn to put your foot and weight straight down and lift straight up. Does indeed. Yes, it's a very good one. And when you're on ice, this is something you have to do as well, right? When we're walking on the ice, if we just sort of, if our vector of movement includes something this way as well as down, we're much more likely to slip, right? But if we put our foot down and work to have that weight always just going down, then we will not slip, even if it's a slippery surface. So good tips for life. All right, well, let's move our bodies some more before we finish up. And any questions before we go? Before we finish up, and we're going to be moving our bodies to do that. One thing I did want to say is this week, keep in mind, Furry Friends, Sticky Planet, ice, anything else you can think of, walking on poles, just play with it. One thing I really want you to do if you do nothing else is I want you to have this idea of a light head as you walk around the world this week. You will find it will make you feel better, I think. You will find it will actually be something that's a little calming for you too. And see what that is like. And I'll ask you about it next week. All right. So let's go over some of the stuff that we've learned. If we stand shoulder width apart, remember, prepare. Little checklist we'll be building for that, that light head. You can look out through those eyes at the world. Sort of fishbowl on top of your head. Relaxed shoulders, kind of like our body was hanging. I want you to imagine right now that that light head actually gives a very gentle pull on your spine, just a really gentle pull, giving you maybe 1/8 of an inch or 1/4 of an inch more height. Your feet are stuck to the ground. And I want you to imagine that in half a second, you're going to sit down. Remember that? You were going to sit down. It just makes, so if you want, just imagine sitting, just bend those knees a little bit and imagine sitting and then come back, but keep that I'm about to sit down feeling. And you'll be aligned. Looks nice. Your weight is equally distributed on both feet. And we're going to do opening. The arms rotate and float up. And then you push that ball down into the water till you can't push it anymore. And then we'll do that again. As our arms come up, they rotate, palms back, nice. Up to shoulder height and down. And if you're standing and you'd like to, we can do it again. You can breathe in when you come up. And you can bend your knees as we come down. And come up. This is an exercise, wave hands like waves. We have arms like, oh, I'm going to have to look up. I'm obviously getting the wrong title of that. I will have that for you next week. Very intentional. Up and down. Feel that push. Feel that ball in your hands. Up and down. And then let's just do a little bit more. Let's rotate our arms and come up, sort of gaze up at the moon. Our arms circle and we come down. And up and down. And up, just gazing, kind of, the moon's just a little high, but it's not high in the sky. So our head only tips a little. One more time. Breathing in, breathing out. We're going to come up and out. Keep your shoulders down. And then imagine being a giant bird. And out. And in. And breathe in. and breathe out. In and out. And then we're going to rotate our hands and stand up this time as we push down. Now, drag your fingers through some imaginary sand and grab some up, maybe up and down. Do within 70%. Drag your fingers. Is it nice warm sand? Is it wet sand? What's your favorite sand? Breathe in. Favorite sand. Grab it up. Maybe hold your breath here and release. Feel it go through your fingers. And one more time. Thank you, folks, for doing Tai Chi with me. Next time, we are going to invent the bow step. Believe it or not, you will do that. You will invent it, and then we'll modify it so it's like the Tai Chi bow step or the bow step in karate, or any of those martial arts where that's done. It's just a very stable position, and believe it or not, just about all of you are going to just do it naturally. So I'm excited about that. It's one of my favorite things. And then the next time we are going to be really concentrating on the next move, which is left ward off, which requires the bow step, among other things. So we'll enjoy that. Any questions before we go? Any comments? You're welcome.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah.
Thank you. Wonderful.
Thank you.
Looking forward to working with you and to doing if you haven't, I'll send you out a link to Nancy's. I really like hers. It has music on Nancy's calling of the first section of the form. And so you'll be able to really look at that and see what it is that you're learning. There's a lot of preliminaries when we start, but we're going to get all of that. So I recommend it to you. Good to see you all, and we're going to learn this too soon. So this is our way of welcoming each other and saying goodbye. So thank you all for joining me.
Thank you.
Thanks.